My syllabus included books like Ruby Fruit Jungle, The Well of Loneliness, and whatever else contained the term sweet nectar. She taught me how to play guitar, all the chords I needed to know to sing every song in her Girl Scouts of America anthology, and a couple of Bruce Springsteen songs. She was complex. Lesbian folk singer Holly Near came to our campus and sang about the desaparecidas in Chile. We held each other's hands and became one with Holly and the other women in the room, women spelled with a Y. And I shoved that Jewish princess in me into the dark recesses of my soul, disgusted by her privilege. I wanted to be the best lesbian I could possibly be. I read it all, I sang it all, and I vowed to fight the socioeconomic tyranny of our patriarchal society. I cut my hair short and I grew my leg hair long. The man would not pressure me into removing my thick, black, Eastern European body hair. And then that girlfriend transferred to another school because she wanted to get out of New York City to be closer to nature and the woods. She let her short, spiky hair grow out until she had one long braid that ran along the length of her spine and ended at the top of her ass crack. She took all of her books and her guitar and her Girl Scouts of America anthology and left me alone, angry and very, very hairy. After that relationship ended, I dated an anarchist who had full, luscious lips and big boobs and looked like Molly Ringwald. She smoked Winston's and wrote for an anarchist zine. We listened to Joan Armatrading and Tracy Chapman, and she stroked my thick leg hair and praised my defiance of societal definitions of femininity. Truthfully, I didn't actually find all that hair very attractive or empowering. I was the walking definition of her suit, as in her suit is made out of hair. I made me uncomfortable. But I hoped that my long leg hair would eventually grow on me. My next girlfriend was straight and curious, and I was happy to be her first. It turned out that she was turned on by my short hair on my head and the long hair everywhere else, because that made me a real lesbian. We were still together when I got my first job out of college. My boss was a divorced woman in her 50s named Harriet, and she came from the South. Her southern twang only came out after her martini lunches with clients. One day she turned to me after such a lunch and said, "Do you ever wear makeup?" "No," I answered. "What for?" "I'm going to take you shopping for lipstick. Let's see what a little color can do for you, shall we?" Harriet took me to MAC Makeup on Bleecker Street and asked the makeup artist to help us pick a lipstick. The matte lipstick was called Chili, outlined by lip liner called Brick. And when I looked in the mirror at my painted maroon lips, I saw me, but way cuter. My blood-red, audacious lips shouted, "We are hot like fire, and we've got chutzpah." Harriet smiled with satisfaction and said, "You know, anthropologists say that women started wearing lipstick to make their lips look like a roused and swollen labia." Well, that did it. I wanted to... That day in MAC, I outed the princess very deep within. She liked the lipstick, and she didn't care whose idea of beauty she was opting into. The lipstick would stay on, and the body hair would come off. Woo! I walked out of MAC Makeup with a new resolve to be who I am, a Jewish, feminist princess who likes vaginas. I've now permanently lasered all the hair off my legs and my armpits and my bikini area, never to return again, because I love the smooth, hairless me. I am also an aggressive groomer of the lady bits, leaving not much more than a cropped sole. I'm all about clearing a path for easy access. And I'm all about doing what I want to do,